just as I was about to enter Carmel, my mom was diagnosed with diabetes. And as you probably know, it's a very really hard to get used to diabetes because you have to follow, you have to take the medications, you have to exercise, it takes a while to get used to that routine. And it was at that time that it was very difficult for her, for my mom. She in fact almost went into a depression, the early stages of depression. And on top of that, I'm leaving to enter Carmel, and she was going through a lot. A year or 2 years later, the phone rings, and it was my sister Barbara announcing that she was pregnant. About 9 months later comes the arrival of Lupita to the family, to the house. And it was then that mom became more, there was a sense of hope and joy, because now she had something to live up for, to take care of Lupita. And it was amazing the transformation that took place in my mom's life, and as well as the family. Although it was joy and hope for the family, it was difficult, especially for my sister Barbara, first child, and having to wake up right in the middle of the night to take care of baby Lupita, because my sister had to get up early in the morning to go to work, so it was my mom's job to get up and take care of Lupita. So there was also joy and happiness, but there was also some difficulties trying to get used to Lupita. Me, on the other hand, I was a little bit sad, because instead of my mom calling me once a week, was now once a month. But that's another story for some other time. I think as we reflect on the scripture today, I think the message for us is similar to for us. And we see that in Mary, who doesn't know what's going to happen to her, yet she says, "Yes, Lord, here I am. I will do as you want me to do." So there's a sense of her of not knowing what was going to happen, but at the same time she trusts that God will provide. And I think by doing that, by accepting this unknown future, not only she's able to trust, but she's able to bring for all of us that hope, the salvation that the world needed, that the people back then needed, and as well as us today. We need that hope, that sense of joy. And at the same time, we also can see that this annunciation of the angel Gabriel to Mary, even though it's calls us to rejoice and be hopeful, we also need to be aware of the many difficulties that this acceptance will bring about in each of us. And I think for us, that particular message as religious is our own vocation. How by accepting Christ, by accepting this call to minister to God's people, we're also accepting the many difficulties, the many frustrations that we will experience when we try to walk with people and show them the way, show them what is best for them. They still come, and yet they still are going to come back to us and miss the mark. But I think we ought not to give up, but to continue to realize that God has called us to walk with His people and to trust that He will provide, and to be hopeful and to be joyful, but at the same time to be transformed, because I think that's what the scriptures are calling us today. that by accepting this call to follow Jesus, we're also going to be challenged in many areas in our lives. And so we have to be open for that. But in the midst of that, we also need to be able to trust that whatever that transformation is going to do in us, we have to trust that it's God that is working in each of us. Just as the arrival of Rupita in the family brought a lot of joy and hope, there was also some adjustments that the family, my mom, had to make. I think we also have to be reminded of that just because we have answered to this call to follow Jesus, we also need to keep that in mind, that we're going to be stretched, you're going to be challenged, to be transformed in Jesus' love and kindness, so that we may be able to bring that message for all those out there who need to hear the good news. But in order for us to do that, we need to learn how to trust God and follow, and so that we may be able to do His will.